manipulated consumers into losing their life savings, and he wants to make them pay. If you have suffered financial hardship as a result of online sports betting and would like help seeking compensation, please submit your claim information for evaluation at sportsbettingclaim.com. Michael Watts is focused on winning for you. sportsbettingclaim.com.
Hey, airline travelers, let's say you have a problem and you need to change or cancel an existing airline reservation. What do? Well, Skywatch is a free service that can help anyone with any airline reservation fix it. Whether you want to cancel it, change your dates, or add passengers, we can help fix your airline reservations so you get exactly what you need. We've updated our computer database and now have access to every airline around the globe. So now you can make one phone call regardless of who booked your airline tickets, and we'll change it, cancel it, and fix it for you. We know the insider secrets to fixing reservations that the airlines don't want you to know about. So if you need to cancel, change, or modify an existing airline reservation, call Skywatch right now. It's a free call, so let us fix it for you. 855-325-5647. 855-325-5647. 855-325-5647. That's 855-325-5647.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
They have both deactivated and activated nuclear weapons with both the United States and Russia.
These are otherworldly things that are maneuvers that haven't been seen.
The UAP activity surrounding nuclear is not a historic issue. It's an ongoing issue.
All right, so welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast, around on American Forces Network, and that was a little blurb from the brand new documentary entitled The Age of Disclosure. And joining us right now is the man behind that film. He directed it, he produced it. It's Dan Farah. Dan, first of all, welcome to the show. It's interesting when I saw the blurb that this was a 80-year global cover-up. I didn't think it went back that far. What happened 80 years ago to kind of start this off?
Well, the folks in my film, the people I interviewed, revealed that this all began in the 40s with the UAP crash at Roswell. The famous Roswell UFO crash apparently really did happen, and that a craft of non-human origin really did crash there, and the wreckage was retrieved and covered up, and that was sort of the beginning of our nation's handling of this matter in secrecy. Just to take a step back for the folks listening who aren't really aware of the film, I interviewed 34 very high-level military, government, and intelligence officials, ranging from our Secretary of State Rubio to sitting senators on both sides of the aisle, generals, admirals, Navy fighter pilots, White House National Security Council members, very serious, credible people who put their reputation on the line and break their silence on what they can lawfully disclose. And what they disclose is that there's been this 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life, and that the elements of the U.S. government that have been involved in this cover-up are in a high-stakes, very secret Cold War race with adversarial nations like China and Russia to reverse engineer this technology of non-human origin. and they reveal the stakes of that race. They say it's like the Manhattan Project on steroids, a very high stakes, very real, very serious situation that impacts all of us, yet 99% of the public's in the dark. And that is why everyone in my film decided to break their silence and share what they legally could to open the public's eyes to the truth.
And recently on a podcast, President Obama just kind of jokingly said, "Yeah, there's aliens, but I never saw them. And if there's a cover up, they never told POTUS." And then he kind of walked it back, saying, "Well, I was just saying, there's billions of galaxies. There's got to be aliens." What did you think of that kind of flip little comment that he made?
Well, the first clip, I don't think he was joking when he said, the interviewer asked him, "Are aliens real?" And he said, "They're real." I don't think he was joking. He wasn't smiling. He had a serious look on his face. Mm-hmm. I think the film, The Age of Disclosure, really has opened the door for people at the highest levels of our government to start talking more comfortably about this, and each of those people is going to kind of find their own way. There's still a lot of nervousness about how to talk about it and what's the right thing or the wrong thing for these people to say. But I think a national conversation has begun, unlike one we've ever seen before. I think we're in unprecedented times, and I think we're going to start to see more people like Obama starting to talk about this. So remember, the reason a documentary like the reason the people in my film have never spoken up in the past about what they lawfully could is because no one person historically wanted to be the one guy out on a limb, saying extraordinary things on his own in a single interview, right? That leads that person to, being subject to the pushback. There's a lot of, cultural stigma around this topic that could hurt someone's reputation or career. There are people who've been involved in covering this up who, push back at anyone who speaks up. Historically, that has led to people not wanting to go out on a limb and say these extraordinary things on their own, which is why my film was an opportunity and a solution to that, for those people. It allowed 34 high-level people to step out of the shadows together, arm in arm, in sync, all in one powerful film. So none of them were out on a limb on their own. They were all in it together, and they found strength in numbers. And I think that any scenario where someone's out on a limb on their own is still going to be tough for them to navigate and to find the right way to talk about. But the important thing is people are talking about it, and it's finally a conversation that's happening at the national level.
And for you, making the film over several years, did you ever look over your shoulder or get a note like, "Hey, mind your own business," or "If I were you, I'd stop doing this"?
Yeah, at a couple points in making the film, I had people try to discourage me from moving forward, from proceeding. There were certainly people that hoped I would never figure out how to get the film distributed. But, I also took comfort in the fact that I had dozens of very senior interview subjects who were stepping out of the shadows in this film, and I had strength in numbers as well, So obviously I proceeded, and the film has been making an incredible impact. I'm really proud of it. It's at the top of the Amazon Prime documentary chart. People all over the world are watching it and telling their friends to watch it and talking about it, and I really think it's driving not only a national conversation but a global conversation that's long overdue.
Well, and you made an important point about Rubio. This is a nonpartisan issue, and everything in this world seems like it's a partisan issue now. So I just wonder the people who, because there's always contrarians or people who will try to discredit this and laugh it off. Should we be looking at those people who are trying to say this is a bunch of hooey?
Look, I think anyone who watches this film and still tries to undermine the seriousness of the issue is suspect at best. It's impossible to ignore the realities of the situation at this point. We're way past that. as everyone from fighter pilots to Secretary Rubio to sitting senators to White House National Security Council members say on camera, on the record in the film, we have UAP activity. So UAP is the modern word for UFOs. We have these craft of unknown origin that perform in ways no known aircraft can, and they're operating with impunity in our most sensitive airspace. Our nuclear weapons are above our nuclear weapon sites. They're above our military bases, our defense capabilities. If these craft had, a Chinese or a Russian flag on them, it would be the biggest national security failure in the history of humanity, right? And to not react that way simply because, we don't know whose they are is just stupid, We have to take it seriously. If there's
Last question for you.
advanced craft operating in our most sensitive spaces, you gotta treat it like a serious issue.
Yes, I agree. Last question for you, Dan, and that is just on a personal level, after all the people you interviewed, do you think we're at a point where, hey, we need to reach out, we need to make contact, we need to say we're friendly, or is it more bellicose, like we need to start shooting these things down? I mean, where do you stand with the whole thing?
I think we're at a place following the release of this film and sort of the stage being set enough for more truth to come out. I think we're at a place where the next thing that needs to happen is a sitting U.S. president and the leadership of his administration need to step to the microphone and tell the world the base facts, that we're not alone in the universe, that technology of non-human origin, craft, have crashed here and have been recovered, and that there has been a secret program for many decades to try to understand the situation and to crack fully all of the technology before our adversaries do. And I think that sharing of the base facts like that would go a long way with the American people. I think it would also help get the right resources put towards this to ensure that we actually do win this technology race. The comparison is, Kennedy gave a great speech at Rice University before we entered the space race, and he declared, it was his famous, space race speech. He declared that we were going to, win the race to the moon, and it was important that the United States lead in space technology like it did in nuclear technology. He says that technology has no conscience of its own, and it's up to mankind whether it's used for good or bad. And that's why it was so important that we led in the space race and we won the space race. The analogy here is, if he hadn't made that speech, would we have won the space race? Who knows? It rallied the nation. It got the nation as a whole on board this agenda and putting all their resources and brain power towards it. And the collective feeling of everyone I interviewed was that we need that now in our nation on this issue. We need to make it known, and we need to make it clear that it's a national priority to win this race, so that we can put all the right resources and brain power towards it. And the brightest young minds in our country that are coming up right now at MIT or wherever know that this is a valid area of inquiry and something they can put their brain power towards. And like Rubio said, it's not he says it in the film, it's not a partisan issue. It's not an ideological issue. There's no divide here. This is just something we need to take serious, and we need to win this race. So I think that's what needs to happen next, that moment of level set with the public.
Good stuff. Dan Farah, director and producer of The Age of Disclosure, premiered at South by Southwest. You can rent it on Prime Video as well. Dan, congrats on the film, and thanks for coming on. Let's catch up on your next one.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for having me.
All right. I'm Rick Tittle. Let's come on back with some open lines.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-247-6135. 800-247-6135. That's 800-247-6135. Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News & World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-918-6189. 800-918-6189. 800-918-6189. That's 800-918-6189.
Do you want to add a boost to your sex life this weekend? Do you want to make your partner and yourself happy? Then call our special hotline now. We'll sell you those little pills that work below the belt for less than $1 a pill and deliver your package in a few days, just in time for the weekend. Our pill delivers almost the same results as expensive pills for less than $1 a piece, and you don't need a prescription. And ask about their buy 3 get 3 free offer. What are you waiting for? Boost your sex life and have a great time now. Less than $1 a pill, discreet delivery in a few days, and a buy 3 get 3 free offer? Dial this number and save it now.
800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. That's 800-245-2751. Paid for by the Pharmacy Shop.
Come again? You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
Tittle beats his servants.
Thanks for that, and welcome back to the show. Coming up in the next segment, we'll check in with Karen Lyle from London, salesportstalk.com. But this segment is open if you'd like to be part of the show. The discourse process here, 1-800-878-PLAY. Don't be shy. Dominic is standing by like a jungle cat to pounce upon the phone and put you on the air. 1-800-878-7529. I want to give a shout-out, as the kids would say, to Alyssa Liu, because I was born in Richmond, California, which is not it's not Beverly Hills. I went to grammar school in El Cerrito. I went to junior high and high school in Richmond. And I got half street cred. Because, yes, I would go to school in the hood, but when the school day was over, I'd go back up into the hills where you can walk your dog at midnight and not be scared. And most of my friends had to stay down in the area that was a little more challenging, as they say, PC-wise. But I always And look, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Richmond's great, because it has a lot of things that aren't great. But I just think it's amazing that Alyssa Liu is from Richmond, California, and she was the youngest United States women's figure champion ever at the age of 13. And then she won again at 14. And then when she was 16, she went to the Olympics in Beijing, and that was the COVID Olympics where there were no fans. And she took 7th, and she retired at 16. And I was reading some articles about her because she's back now at the Olympics. She rediscovered her love of skating. And she was the classic case of just burning out. Every single moment of her life was studying or skating, and that was it. And it was horrifying for her, and she couldn't take it anymore. And I remember when I was growing up, my cousin and his sister, who's also my cousin, boy and girl, they were a little bit older than me, and they played at this private tennis club in San Jose. My uncle was a huge tennis guy, and tennis was huge in the 70s. I played it. I was the number one guy at my high school in Richmond. I know. No one really played. I kind of got it by default. People played. Anyway, wasn't like I was growing up in Florida there, but my cousins were champions. And my uncle moved to Reno. They've been there ever since, my cousins and their kids. But they moved to Reno in the 70s, and my cousin was a senior in high school, and my other cousin was a freshman, and they were both Nevada State champs at the varsity level. Just boom, boom. Nevada State champions. And so they both could write a ticket to whatever school was going to give them a full ride, because, yes, there are schools that give full rides for tennis players. And at the very least, UNR was going to give them a full ride. And they both quit. And if you had seen my cousin's room growing up, I've never seen a room with more trophies. I swear he had like 50 trophies. And he's like, I never want to see a tennis ball again. What are you talking about? You're so good. He goes, I hate it. I'm sick of it. I want to do something else. Do you remember Todd Marinovich? You know, with the robo-dad, Marv Marinovich, former Raider linebacker, and then Todd at USC. Al Davis said, that's my guy, and he drafts him in the first round. And Todd Marinovich, all he wanted to do was smoke weed and paint. And I don't mean houses, but paintings. And he would sit there with a joint, and he would paint. And it's the kind of thing where you can't make someone have that fire. But I do think sometimes you have a fire and it's extinguished because of the relentlessness of it. And Alyssa Liu was talking about how her dad, she just didn't want to let him down, and he was the one pushing her. And she finally said, Dad, screw it. I'm done. And a couple years ago, after being out of it for a while, she just started skating around in Oakland, where she trains, right there on Broadway at the Ice Center there. And then she goes, oh, I kind of like it again. But she's such a world-class talent that she just snapped her finger. Well, I shouldn't say snapped her finger. She put in a lot of hard work. But when you leave for 2 years in your prime, 17 and 18 years old, she came back in 19, and she's like, I think I like skating again. And so she's back again, and she's the reigning world champion again. And so it's pretty amazing to me. They're talking about now the Blade Angels. This is what Tara Lipinski, who's been on the show many times, and they're supposed to just sweep everything, because along with Alyssa Liu is also Amber Glenn from Plano, Texas, who's quote unquote old at 26. The great name of Isabeau Levito. Isabeau Levito There's nobody else with that name. She's from Mount Holly, New Jersey. She's 18 years old. And those three are supposed to, we hype things up here, don't we? But they're supposed to be gold, silver, bronze in that order for the women figure skaters. And remember, there was a good 15-year period where American female figure skaters won just about everything. And we had Christy Yamaguchi and Nancy Kerrigan and Michelle Kwan and Tara Lipinski and Sasha Cohen, and the list goes on of some of those great figure skaters. And you can go all the way back to Peggy Fleming if you want to. But I just think it's cool that Richmond is getting repped. Now, I was at a friend's 60th birthday party last year, and I ran into one guy who I grew up with, and he's like, he goes, how come when you're on the air you say you're from Richmond? I'm like, well, I was born there and I went to school there. I've never actually lived there, but I definitely feel like I can rep Richmond. And he was like, I'm like, sorry to offend you. My brother lived in two horrible places in Richmond. By the way, my grandfather worked at the Richmond shipyards in World War II, and these from the Pacific Theater, they'd limp back to port, and they would get repaired there in the shipyards. He worked at number 3, which is now a Rosie the Riveter museum there in Point Richmond, which is really cool. But, I'll just tell you, this is not a big figure skating part of the country, the San Francisco Bay Area. Remember, we had Debbie Thomas, who went to Stanford, and she fell down 4 times, and they still gave her the bronze. They didn't do that for Ilya Malinin the other day, as you shouldn't have. But just shout out Alyssa Yu from Richmond, California. I'm Rick Tittle. We'll take a quick break. Let's go to the UK next.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
If you've got a property that you've been trying to sell and you've tried almost everything, I want to tell you about something that you haven't tried yet. You're going to think this offer is too good to be true, but it's not. Thousands of customers have sold their homes in any condition with Need to Sell My Home. This is a real opportunity from a highly rated company that buys homes all over the country. Did you know it's possible to sell your home right over the phone with no real estate commissions and no pesky open houses? Plus, every offer is a cash offer with no mortgage holdups. To find out how much you can sell your home or property for, call now. Take 5 minutes of your time and call for this 100% free quote to sell your home.
800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. That's 800-430-0674. Do you have a book? Get it out of your mind and make it a real book with a free guide to book publishing. Trying to publish a book yourself can be complicated. It takes a lot of time that you could spend writing your book or even more books. Do what you do best. Get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Books, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores nationwide. We can do it faster than you can on your own. Get your free guide to publishing. It's a free phone call. Remember, make this free call right now and learn how to turn your book into something real that people can buy. Get your free writer's guide. Call right now. 800-482-8399. 800-482-8399. 800-482-8399. That's 800-482-8399.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly with nationwide 5G because Cricket is on the AT&T network. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. Service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Thank you for that. Welcome back to the show. It's 9:40 on Tuesday. We check in with our friends at SalesPortTalk.com, and co-hosting the segment as she does on Tuesdays is Karen Lyle from SalesPortTalk.com, and who joins us from the UK right now. Karen, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rick. I'm enjoying myself very much. We actually even had some sun here in London. It was amazing. Everybody was just commenting on that, you know.
Great stuff. And I know you have a friend with you, David Stark, the publisher of the trade magazine called Songlink as well. And David, just real quick, do you which football team do you support over there?
It's a team called Tottenham Hotspur.
That's my team.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Went to White Hart Lane in '91 for the very first time. It was a religious experience. Of course, been to the stadium, and I was just watching video of Igor Tudor's first training session as we're all a little bit nervous, aren't we?
That's amazing. Yeah. I've been following them since I was a kid. Really.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Hoddle and Waddle, Jimmy Greaves, who were your favorites? Steve Perryman?
Well, it was Jimmy Greaves, Dave Mackay, Danny Blanche back in the day. Those are the legends of Spurs.
Those are the
the
Bill Nick days.
Bill Nicholson, that's right. Wow, you know your stuff.
I do, lifelong fan. All right, Ken, take it away. Why do we have Mr. Stark with us today?
Well, you know, I was at the Stationers Hall in London, historic London, and David Stark was actually there with a friend, and we met and started talking, and it just so happened that we mentioned, it was John Lennon. It was the piano that I did.
Oh, that's
right. You wrote the book, and I wrote the Provenance on the John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Green, and we started talking and having this really esoteric conversation about music, and then we got into the fact that he's written the book and started out as a fan. So actually, I want to talk to you about this. You're sitting here with me, but I can interview you.
Okay.
So, David, tell me about how you started out with being a fan of the Beatles, because you actually got to see the opening day of the Yellow Submarine, and that was in a theater, and you somehow sneaked back and got on the roof. And what was your experience from the roof on?
Well, that was in 1968, but I'd been since 1963, so already when I was 10 years old, so when I first heard Please Please Me for the first time, and then I was hooked right from that day, and I became a Beatles fan, still am, and started my Beatles scrapbooks in 1963 right through the 60s, which I still have. I'll show you them one day. And but 1968, I was 15 years old, and we're sitting here very near Piccadilly Circus, and which was where the London Pavilion Cinema was, where the Beatles had the premiere of all their films, A Hard Day's Night, Help, and in 1968, The Yellow Submarine movie, which as a kid, 15, I thought, with my pal, we'll go down and just have a look to see the Beatles arriving, because we hadn't seen them in public. Nobody had seen them together for 2 years, since 66, their last tour. Their last gig, of course, Candlewick Park. And they had done nothing. They'd just been in the studio. So we went down to the cinema, just up the road here, just to watch what was going on until we're in the crowd. There's still hundreds of people gathering in the afternoon. And then I suddenly, it's a long story, cut it short, got onto the roof of the cinema, amazingly, watching all the crowds gathering.
How many people came around that time?
They estimate about 60,000 people were there to see the premiere. And we're on the roof looking at everybody gathering. And eventually we see the celebrities, all the Beatles came in these really old-fashioned cars. And we couldn't see them, we could see the cars. At which point I said to my pal, we need to get into the cinema, which we did. And it's a long story, but we ended up being sitting in the street in the seats behind John and Paul and all the Beatles, and I'm sitting next to Keith Richards of the Stones, who told me I was sitting in Mick Jagger's seat because Mick and Marianne were in New York at that time, so I was cool to sit next to him.
Well, and you were 15 years old,
yeah,
and had no idea that you'd then be a friend of Paul McCartney, involved in this project.
Years later, but I met Paul many times over the years, but for the last 20 years or so, I've been involved with him at LIPA, which is Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, which is like the famous school in Liverpool, which he co-founded exactly 30 years ago this year. So I've been involved for the last 20 years or so, and they made me a companion of LIPA. 2006, I go up to do master classes every year about music business and songwriting, which I'll be doing next month. And I see him every year at graduation day, and we always have a little catch up, which is great. So I kind of, from a fan, I've known him professionally for the last 20 years or so.
So Rick, this is to you.
David, I know you're a drummer. Was Ringo your guy?
Definitely. Ringo is an incredible drummer. I'm a huge fan of his style, always have been. Nobody could play like Ringo. As long, not just Ringo, I got Keith Moon and Ginger Baker and Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix. I loved all those guys, but Ringo was unique. And also, he was a left-handed drummer playing right-handed, really. And I'm a left-handed drummer playing left-handed.
I bet you wonder how he does that.
It's a mystery. That's why he's so unique, because all the fills he did, it's some of them impossible to replicate because he had a unique style. And that's when you listen to the Beatles tracks, you think, how did he do that? And that's the magic of it.
Well, you also think back then you had like a tom and a bass and a snare. You didn't have much. These huge percussion kits they have now.
No, that's true. He was, single tom on the bass drum and the floor tom, and I used two on my drums, but he was. You can't replicate it that easily. But I do try, and I play in a band which is a tribute to the Traveling Wilburys. And we're known as the Trembling Wilburys.
Well, tell us about the music that you play in your band.
Well, it's covers of the famous Wilburys like Handle with Care, End of the Line, but also solo songs by Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, George Harrison, the Beatles, Tom Petty, and Jeff Lynne, ELO. So we give a great show. In fact, I'll be playing on Friday night, and we're doing a lot of shows this year.
Well, and I wish I could come to that. I'll be on the plane back to San Francisco.
You will.
I'll catch you next time out here. Right. So you have a book, and you wrote it a few years ago, but it's available on Amazon. It's called All Too Much.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this, the adventures of a teenage Beatles fan in the 1960s and beyond.
That's right. So I wrote that. Everybody said, David, when are you going to write my book? And it was thanks to the lockdown and COVID that I managed to get it finished in 2020, and it came out at the end of that year. And I've been promoting it ever since and doing talks and interviews, podcasts and stuff. And but people love to hear my stories about meeting all of the Beatles. I'm lucky to have met them all, John, Paul, George and Ringo, and I've got stories of all of them. So if you'd like to know more, it's alltoomuch.com.
What is the one thing you would say, because you're being a South and those guys, officers, what was the one thing that maybe one of the four Beatles that stood out to you that maybe the general public we don't know about?
Good question. I would say, well, I mean, I know Paul, but Paul is very much a diplomat, and you know, he's got his public persona, and in private, he's okay, but he's still a bit of a diplomat. I would say, out of all of them, George was the easiest guy to speak to. He would talk to anybody about anything. I even introduced him to my mother once, and they got on great at a concert at the Albert Hall. And so George, I always had a lot of respect for, and it's sad we lost him, like John, way too young. But George would talk to anybody about anything. That's what I liked about him.
What was one of the most pivotal experiences for you that put you into the music business? You know, back because you started out as a fan.
Yeah.
And we were here in this absolute amazing scene of the '60s when rock music just blossomed in a way in which nobody had ever seen it before.
That's true. Well, I was a fan, and then, you know, I always loved music, and I started playing drums when I was 13 years old. So my first job was working for our premier brand of drums called Premier Drums, and I had to go to concerts by The Who and meet Keith Moon, who endorsed them, and so I was thrown in the deep end quite early when I was, you know, 17, 18 years old, and then I ended up not long after that working for a guy called Dick James, who was had been the Beatles' music publisher, who then discovered a guy called Elton John, became his publisher. So I worked for his company for a short while. So I met Elton John back in the day, and quite recently as well. And then I ended up eventually working for Decca Records, which was one of the big companies back in the day. And I was working with bands like the Moody Blues. They had the Rolling Stones catalog, and all sorts of artists. Tom Jones, Engelbert Humperdinck, all those guys back on Decca Records. And I was doing the international promotions back in the day.
Well, and Tom Jones just came to San Francisco last year, and I saw him perform. He still got it.
Fantastic.
You said you know the pianist of that.
His pianist is a very good friend of mine I've known for years, and he is in a film about the great session player called Nicky Hopkins, who died years ago. And we are talking about doing a Nicky Hopkins tribute band right now, which might be happening.
All right, we got to run, but it's such a pleasure to catch up with David Stark. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. And come on, you
Thank
Spurs.
You. There you go.
We'll talk to you next week, Rick.
All right, very good. That's salesportstalk.com. That's the website for more info. Come on back.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident, or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident, or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. That's 800-401-5163.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. That's 800-913-9739.
Hey, vacation lovers! It's finally time to use all those random facts you learned on TikTok for something that actually matters. It's the Radio Trivia Challenge from thevacationbuddies.com. All right, here's how it works. Be one of the first 10 callers right now and you'll score a complimentary 3-day, 2-night getaway from the Vacation Buddies. You'll stay at none other than Westgate Resorts, in your choice of Vegas, Orlando, Myrtle Beach, or Branson. You ready? According to travel stats, which of these 3 cities is the most visited vacation destination in the U.S.? A, Las Vegas, B, Orlando, C, New York City. First 10 callers get the trip. So stop scrolling and start dialing. And let's see if TikTok actually taught you anything.
Be one of the first 10 callers. Call Vacation Buddies right now. 800-340-1834. 800-340-1834. 800-340-1834. That's 800-340-1834.
Just go ask your mama.
Okay, that's it.
Hey, your mama is in here.
Rick Tittle's got a black belt in keeping it real.
Oh, and just for fun, you know the Sphere in Vegas. It's pretty amazing, and I can't tell you from eyewitness because I've not attended an event there. But a buddy of mine showed me the menu. This was the a la carte snacks menu for the Sphere. Not kidding. Popcorn, $70. They were just starting with that. Chips and salsa, $100. Little Jim Caesar salad, $150. I'm not making this up. Parmesan fries, $90. It says comes with ketchup and garlic aioli. Sliders, $200. Wings, $200. And if you want a steak, it's called the Prime Cowboy au Poivre. Uh-oh, there's French in there. Wild mushrooms with cognac peppercorn sauce. The steak is $370. So what happens is you get your date to the Sphere, and she's like, hey, can I get some chips and salsa? Sure. Yeah, it's $100. It says it comes with salsa roja, tomatilla salsa, and guacamole. Oh, that's pretty good. How about Bavarian pretzel bites with honey mustard? $100. Cookies, $180.
Better be getting like 2 dozen of them.
I better be getting 100 of them. The vegetable crudité board with seasonal vegetables and avocado bean dip, $160. And if you would like, I'll just do one more. Heirloom caprese flatbread with tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, basil oil, and balsamic glaze, $120. So if you got popcorn and a steak and some chips and salsa, that would be $540. Why don't you just lean back and watch this show? Come on back on my line.
I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-Minute Warning. As the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing began its new season last weekend, a shadow still hovers over the sport. A shadow marking its anniversary, the death of Dale Earnhardt. On February 18, 2001, in the closing moments of the first Daytona 500 broadcast on the Fox network, Earnhardt was killed during a last-lap accident on the backstretch. I was there that day in the crowd. A big Sterling Marlin fan, I went to the race with a friend who was a big Earnhardt fan, and another whose favorite driver, Adam Petty, had passed away tragically the year prior due to a wreck in New Hampshire. To this day, I can't think of many more surreal experiences I've ever had in my life, and certainly never when it comes to a sporting event I was at. As both a Marlin fan and a fan of great stories, the race was playing itself out beautifully. Marlin's Coors Light Silver Bullet was strong and he looked like he could win his third career Daytona 500. But Earnhardt was ahead of him and was aggressively protecting the cars of Michael Waltrip and his son Dale Earnhardt Jr., who were leading the pack. Cars that were owned by Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, the team that was going to take the sport into the future. And only about a half hour before the end of the race, I thought I had seen a man die. A wreck on the backstretch during lap 173 saw Tony Stewart smash head-on into a wall, go airborne over another car, and proceeded to violently roll several times. In total, 18 cars were involved in the accident, and I really did think Stewart was done. But instead, he emerged from the car conscious and walked into the ambulance, and it took him to the infield care center. So when we saw the last lap where Marlin and Earnhardt got into it, and Dale went into the wall the same way we've seen many drivers do, we didn't think much of it. They almost always walked away. Immediately afterwards, we bailed out to get something to eat. I believe we were at the Hooters that's right across from the track. I honestly can't remember. There was dark wood, and it seems like a place we would have gone to at our ages in Daytona, so that's what I'll go with. The fact is, I honestly don't remember. Once the announcement was made that we had lost Dale Earnhardt, my timeline gets awfully blurry. Leaving the city on Monday, while no one was outwardly obnoxious to me, there were several cold stares. A glance at my Coors Light number 40 hat, followed by a sharp look in the eyes. It was truly surreal, and remains so to this day. As awful as this will sound, someone with serious value to the sport was going to have something serious happen to them before sweeping safety changes were going to be made. Sadly, its biggest star fell victim, and those changes were made, and since then, not one person has passed away in any of the three major series. But 25 years later, Earnhardt's shadow still hovers. I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-Minute Warning.
Have you been daydreaming about losing weight for years? Do you just yo-yo back and forth? At Innovative Wellness Center, we have a holistic weight loss program that allows you to lose up to 20 pounds in 30 days. People are losing weight like crazy and keeping it off. It can be done from anywhere in the United States. Go to our website at www.innovativewellness.center and schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Soccer season rolls on here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. This is Tyler Levine, host of First Touch, the premier weekly global soccer show across the entire Sports Byline broadcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Simple Radio, and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We're talking English Premier League, Champions League, our picks of the week, and a whole lot more. First Touch on Sports Byline USA Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Getting together with friends to watch the game? Then you'll need American Premium Vodka. Handcrafted and pure, this is the one thing all Americans can agree on. Founder Mark Gus Scott chose the finest natural elements America has to offer, and you'll taste how great it is to be an American. Now available at Bevmo, GoPuff, Hy-Vee, and Fairway stores. American Premium Vodka. This is the America we need right now. Go to AmericanPremiumVodka.com. Celebrate responsibly.
Quick question. How many calls, texts, or messages does your business miss every week? Nights, weekends, busy days. That's lost money. Create Assistance helps businesses fix that problem using AI employees that answer calls, respond to texts, book appointments, and follow up with leads 24/7 automatically. No extra staff, no complicated software. Everything runs inside one simple command center that replaces scattered tools, missed follow-ups, and manual busywork. Whether you're a service business, office, or multi-location company, Create Assistance keeps your business responsive, organized, and running even when you're off the clock. Stop letting leads slip through the cracks. Visit createassistance.ai to book a free call. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
Rick Tittle knows his sports.
I hate that guy.
I love that guy. Oh my gosh, he's so fine. Rick Tittle brings home the bacon, fries it up in a pan, and then he eats it.
Ricky T in the hizzle for shizzle, biznatch.
Thank you for that, and welcome back to the show. 1-800-878-PLAY, 1-800-878-7529. You know, you can get disqualified for things in the Olympics. Sometimes you hurt yourself by wearing a helmet. Where you say, don't wear it. I think all you do is hurt yourself. But Austrian ski jumper and dumper Daniel Schofenich came to the Milano Cortina Games as one of the favorites to take the gold medal in large hill ski jumping because he won the World Cup gold medal last year. But he was disqualified because his boots were 4 millimeters over the standard. He said, I used new shoes in training, which, by the way, I wasn't very happy with, but I kept them. Unfortunately, I was naive and didn't check the sizes. That was incredibly stupid of me. And I like the fact that he admits that it was his bad. You know, I sort of feel like, and this is sad to say because I am an American, I feel like an American would have been like, well, they didn't tell me, they shouldn't have let me train them if they were no, why would they make them if they're too long? My coach said they were okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm speaking in general terms, but I kind of feel like we always like to blame somebody. This is not my fault. He's like, I didn't check the size, and I'm incredibly stupid. And so he said he'll be back for the 2030 games. That's a long wait, Dan O'Brien. But anyway, he owned up to it. The Skier Skilaufen der Österreich, ja. No one knows what I'm saying. New York Times bestselling author Steve Berry is back again on the show, coming up after a quick break. His book called The Devil's Bible. Yeah, that's right. And Giorgio Tsoukalos will join us at 10:40 Pacific time. And I checked with him. He's combing his hair out, and he's getting ready to bring the heat. Take a quick break. We'll come on back with Steve Berry.
I am an American
veteran. I'm proud to have served this country. Helping veterans is something all Americans can participate in, and it's as simple as donating an old car that you have sitting around. When you call the Veteran Car Donation Program, they'll explain how their program works, and then arrange a time they can come and pick up your vehicle for free. Running or not, it doesn't matter. They take cars, trucks, motorcycles, or vans. Show your support by donating your car and get a tax deduction in the process. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program right now. They'll come and pick your car up for free, and you'll get a tax deduction in the process. Call the number we're about to give you right now. Thank you, and God bless America.
800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. That's 800-887-1097.
Let's be honest. Most businesses don't struggle because demand is low. They struggle because their back end can't handle growth. Leads come in, but follow-up is slow. Calls get missed. Appointments don't get confirmed. And everything lives in different places. So even when marketing works, revenue doesn't scale. That's a systems problem. Create Assistance fixes this by building a done-for-you CRM and automation system that captures every lead, follows up automatically, confirms appointments, and keeps everything organized in one place. And only after that foundation is built, AI voice and chat employees get added on. If your business feels chaotic behind the scenes, it's time to fix the back end. Visit createassistance.ai and book your call today. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
My fellow Americans, let the message ring out that from this day forward, when you buy American, you buy the best. Handcrafted, something premium, something pure. For this is the very essence of what our servicemen and women gave their lives to protect, and by God, we shall not allow their sacrifice to be forgotten. It's time to show the world just how great American can be. And we will not wait for tomorrow to come. We will stand here, this moment, together, and we will start today. Don't ever forget how great it is to be American. The America we need right now. American Premium Vodka. Celebrate responsibly.
Hour two of titillating sports. You thought it couldn't get any better, but it's better. Rick Tittle is back. He's so great. I can't believe how awesome he is. More sports talk, yes. Couldn't get any better, but it's better. Rick Tittle is back. He's so great. I can't believe how awesome he is. More sports talk, yes. Hour two of titillating sports.
Hey, check out Channel 9. Check out Rick Tittle.
Hey, thank you for that. Welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. Brand new today is a book from Grand Central Publishing. It's entitled The Devil's Bible, a Cotton Malone novel. And we're very happy to welcome back to the show the author of that book, Steve Berry, who has written so many great bestsellers. And, of course, Cotton Malone has been in some 20 books as well. Steve, I always love the fact that these are novels, but they're historical novels. You take painstaking steps to make sure everything as legit as possible. So tell us about this 800-year-old Codex Gigas. How do you say it? Gigas. What is that?
It's the giant book. It's the largest book in the world. It measures 3 foot tall, about 2 foot wide, about 9 inches thick. It weighs 165 pounds. It was created in Bohemia, which is now the Czech Republic, in the 13th century. We have no idea who wrote it, why, or where, just that it was in that region. It was stolen by the Swedes in 1648 when they ransacked Prague Castle, and they've kept it in Stockholm for the last 400 years. it's fascinated me because this is a handwritten book because it was before printing press. So one person wrote it. It would have taken about 30 years to write this book. And amazingly, the handwriting on the first page and the handwriting on the last page is the same. It's basically age has not come into it. You would think as a person got 30 years older, their handwriting would change. It's all identical. And even more incredible, there's not a single mistake anywhere in the book, which is quite remarkable. So I wove a modern-day thriller around this book with Russia, Sweden, the Czech Republic, and the United States all wanting it, but wanting it for totally different reasons. Cotton Malone, my recurring hero, has to steal it and get it to the right one. So that's kind of your thumbnail sketch.
Now, I love the cover of the book, a pentagram in relief. You can put your fingers into it, as I'm doing right now. What is the, why is it considered evil? Why is it considered the devil's? Being a big book doesn't make it evil, so why is it the devil's Bible?
Well, it's not really considered evil. It gets its name, the Devil's Bible, from a story that they made up about it, that a monk wrote it all in one night to save himself from punishment and made a deal with the devil. That's how he got it done. And part of the deal was the devil would be in the book. And on folio 290 in the book, there's this very odd painting of the devil. Not like anything we've ever seen, not like the devil we think of, not like the Renaissance representation of the devil. Very unique. And so the book acquired its name, The Devil's Bible. And it was basically an encyclopedia. It had the world's knowledge in it. It also had the Bible in it, all handwritten out in this gigantic 322-page volume.
So when you think about the pages and all the language, I would assume it's in Latin, or am I wrong?
No, that's correct. The majority of it is in Latin, yes, and it's that would have been the language of that time. There are the Bible, as I said, is in it. They've actually copied the Bible into it, but they also have other things: histories, some alchemy, some medical text, some biography. It's a little bit of everything. It's kind of like an almanac in some respects from the 13th century. We don't know really why they did it. The book's so big, it's 165 pounds. You can't really carry it around with you.
It just goes to show you that there are so many great things out there to write about, and I love the way that you find them. But also, I would imagine at some point, especially when after the fall of the Berlin Wall and these new states, that the Czech Republic, especially maybe splitting with Slovakia, would ask for this thing back in real life. Are the Swedes holding on to it with both hands?
Yep, pretty much. They've been the Czechs have been asking for it for decades. And in my book, I revolve it around Sweden's entrance into NATO. In real life, Turkey blocked Sweden into NATO for many, many years. In my world, it's the Czech Republic that's blocking Sweden from coming into NATO. So it all kind of comes together. But yes, the Czech Republic would definitely like to have the book back, no question, but I don't see that happening.
So, Cotton Malone this time around, how has he progressed? How has he evolved in this latest book?
Well, he's changed a lot since the Templar Legacy 20 books ago. This book, he has to face some very interesting and traumatic situations. We can't really say what they are because they give away some of the surprises of the novel. But needless to say, he's going to have his world a little bit updated here. And I'm doing that lately. I started in the Atlas Maneuver, continued with last year's book, The Medici Return, and I'll keep it going where things are happening in Cotton's world a little bit different, a little changing. Just like in real life, things have to change. And it's been kind of fun for me, and I hope it's going to be fun for the reader as you're going to see these things progress over the next few books.
You know, just as an aside, as a history buff myself, I love the fact that one of Napoleon's marshals, Bernadotte, was asked when Charles XIII of Sweden died, they had no heir, and they're like, someone put your name forward. Do you want to be king of Sweden? And to this day, the House of Bernadotte still rules in Stockholm.
That is correct.
It's amazing.
And that's in the novel. That's all in the book. I put it in the novel. All that is included in there of how it came about. He basically adopted him, and had a So the Swedish royal house is really has its origins in French. That's exactly right. It's been like 7 or 8 kings, and in my book, I added a new one.
All right, very good. Now, the other thing is, I know just from being a rock and roll fan, anything with a pentagram, there's going to be a backlash when people don't even know the contents of it. Have you seen any pushback from people saying, oh my gosh, Steve, what a controversial title and cover?
No, not yet. Haven't heard anything. This book was just released today, though, so it's early. But this is not a book about the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. The Devil's Bible has its name, but it doesn't have much to do with satanic stuff or anything like that. This book's been studied over a zillion times. They've been all through it. There was no surprises in this book. What makes the book important is just the book itself, what it represented. It's a national treasure of the Czech Republic, and they want it back. And Sweden doesn't want to give it to them. And Russia wants to control it to get Czech to do what it wants. And the United States wants to control it to get Sweden to do what it wants. So that's what it comes down to.
And just one last question for you. I'm sure you took a deep dive into the Codex Gigas. What's a page maybe that stood out to you that we don't know about, that you're like, wow, look at that?
Well, it has to be the image of the devil that's in there, because it is so odd and so unique, and you don't see that in any medieval manuscripts. In fact, that may be the only one we're aware of that has such a representation. Then on the opposite page is an image of the city of heaven. So you get both sides of it right there when you open up to that. That's what makes the book the strangest of all. And of course, as I said, the fact that there are no errors in it and that the handwriting does not degrade over time. It stays the same, which is kind of remarkable, because our handwriting at 20 years old and our handwriting at 60 years old is quite different.
By the way, in this press release, I think Shakespearean, a new word has been invented, unputdownable. I've never seen that word.
Unputdownable.
It says,
I like that word, though.
Yeah, an unputdownable tale. The Devil's Bible by our guest, Steve Berry. Out brand new today, Grand Central Publishing. Make sure to pick it up. There's so many layers to this story. Steve, as always, thanks for coming on, and congrats.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and come back to the Unputdownable Show, Titillating Sports.
Strange ways coming today. I put $1 in my pocket and I threw it away. Been a long time since the federal dime made a jukebox sound like a mirror of mine. Need to calm my worries, fix my thoughts, pull my hopes like a
You hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-247-6135. 800-247-6135. That's 800-247-6135.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless status of your medical conditions as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-399-6879. 800-399-6879. 800-399-6879. That's 800-399-6879.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Number.
Call right now. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. Again, for the last time, that's 800-943-9215.
What would you say you do here? Look, I already told you. I deal with the customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand it? What the hell is wrong with you people?
I'm waiting for the chance.
Rick Tittle will fight anyone listening to this.
All right. Thank you for that. Welcome back to the show. Coming up in the next segment, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Sorry, Giorgio Tsoukalos. My fault. Sorry, Giorgio. I'm sure he'll still come on. The executive director of the Players Association, Tony Clark, is supposed to resign, according to the Athletic. And the CBA is going to expire December 1st. And Marcus Semien, St. Mary's High School, he said he's a member of the executive subcommittee, and he told reporters, quote, "You definitely don't want things to be a distraction going into December. So that's all I can really say. Maybe that's why this is happening now." And according to the New York Post, Clark didn't tell anybody about this ahead of time. Tony Clark, if you remember him, I remember him with the Detroit Tigers, and a guy who, when he first got the job, had a little teeny, like, gray Stinger beard, and then he had a little bit of another beard, a longer gray beard. And now I'm not going to say Letterman, because Letterman's is hillbilly. His is, like, shaped kind of like coat of Hammurabi. It is an impressive, enormous white beard. I'm not a facial hair guy myself, but maybe he ran out of beard. I don't know. But the real reason is that Clark and the union are under federal investigation by the Eastern District of New York. What does that mean? Well, there's prosecutors looking into whether a licensing company co-founded by the union and the NFL union, called One Team Partners, was being financially used to enrich these union leaders. So the full scope of the investigation is unclear. But Players Way, which is also a youth baseball company owned by MLBPA, it is also under investigation for alleged financial impropriety. That company is said to have held a few live events for kids, and the union put $3.9 million into the company. Well, where's the money going? And reportedly, all the executive and consultants got at least $100,000 each. And so when Semien was asked, is this why Clark is resigning because of these investigations now? Semien said, quote, I think so. Because up to this point, before any investigations, I have had the ultimate confidence in Tony Clark to lead this player group. I've had the ultimate confidence in Bruce Meyer to be the negotiator for this player group. So 3 other members of the MLPA Executive Subcommittee, Messrs. Jack Flaherty, Lucas Giolito, and Happ, they attempted to remove this guy Bruce Meyer as the deputy director over a year ago. Then Flaherty, Giolito, and Happ were then voted out of the subcommittee. If you want to know who's on the subcommittee, it's Semien, Chris Bassett, 2 former A's, Jake Cronenworth, Pete Fairbanks, Cedric Mullen, Paul Skeens, Terry Skubal, and Brent Suter. So CBA negotiations typically begin around the spring and get serious on opening day, and then they talk throughout the summer. And Clark's expected resignation, you could say, is pretty precarious, as the labor negotiations are supposed to get very ugly for both sides. In fact, the union and the owners have warned of a labor stoppage. Of course, they blame the other side. Rob Manfred, boo, the commissioner, said, quote, in a bizarre way, it's actually a positive if there's a lockout. Wait, this is why this guy sucks. He let the A's move when he said he wouldn't, but also it's a positive. Why is it a positive? He said there is leverage associated with an off-season lockout, and the process of collective bargaining under the National Labor Relations Act works based on leverage. The great thing about off-season lockouts is the leverage that exists gets applied between the bargaining parties, which is like saying, you know, good inventions happen during wartime because everybody's panicked. So let's start a war. So the owners are still coming back with a salary cap. And as the league presents this idea of payroll minimums and maximums, they want it under the guise of parity, and the union has said we will never, ever, 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 ever accept a salary cap. And there are other issues that come up, include playoff expansion and the international draft, maybe, instead of signing period. But Clark is 53. He joined the union 16 years ago after a 15-year playing career, unanimously approved as the executive director back in 2013 after Michael Weiner had passed away. Clark has overseen the last 2 CBAs, so it's unclear who's going to take over his role, but Brent Suter on the subcommittee told The Athletic that the union will just use an interim leader, saying the desire is to keep everything as stable as we can this year, end quote. So Clark was scheduled to begin his annual spring training tour today, and he was supposed to show up with Cleveland in the Cactus League, and that's off. So it's I don't know. I've never been worried about the players' union. I've never been worried about owners. I just want them to play. That's all. One more thing, too. Aaron Judge kind of piped up yesterday. Of course, 3 of the last 4 MVPs in the AL are his, and he won a batting title as well, hitting .331. He's a pretty good player. 137 runs, 114 RBI, 53 home runs, 12 steals, good glove in the outfield. But Judge also has piped up about other teams are getting better and we're not. But he did say when somebody asked him about what are you working on your game, he said base running on my mind this year a lot. I saw a lot of guys around the league with 40, 30 base steals that you don't normally expect to be running that much, and especially with how the game's changed with the pickoffs and the pitch clock, I think that's one way we can utilize, or at least I can utilize some of my skills a little bit more, getting in a scoring position with the lineup we have. This has a lot of power. I think we can find our ways to get ourselves into scoring commission. If they're going to walk me, I need to do something. Well, yeah. By the way, 17 players had 30 steals last year. Now, remember, the bases got bigger as well, and you can't throw over after 2 times. I mean, Josh Naylor had 30 steals. And what is he, about 260 pounds? Well, so Judge has never stolen more than 16, even though his career attempt rate is 75%. So the matter for the Yankees is, will running, upside of running be worth the downside of increasing his injury? Because every time he literally puts that knee in the dirt and slides, or the other way, head first, you're risking injury. And this is a guy who, the last 3 years, is averaging 50 home runs a year and hitting 312 a year. So I would basically just give Aaron Judge the red light, unless it's defensive indifference, and then it doesn't really count as a steal at that point, does it? I did see off-season grades. I looked at the A's. The off-season grade was D, and the Giants' off-season grade was C-. The Giants are getting so many lousy players, and you know what? The last 2 guys they got probably mean that I don't see how Drew Gilbert makes the team. I mean, the guy, what did he bat 100 last year, and they went out and got Bader. Bader can see why everybody hated him. He shows up with skeleton shoes, and he has the bandana, and I don't know. He's going to be an acquired taste. All right, let's take a break. We'll come on back with George Tsoukalos.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
More than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
Every champion has a team behind them. And for thousands of families without insurance, Christ Clinic is that team. At Christ Clinic in Katy, Texas, they provide high-quality, faith-based health care to people who can't afford it, because everyone deserves a shot at health, no matter their income or insurance status. Their doctors, volunteers, their mission, rooted in compassion, their impact, over 10,000 patient visits every year, and growing. But they can't do it without help from fans like you. If you ever cheered for a comeback story, this is your chance to be a part of one. Donate today at ChristClinicKaty.org and help them keep the doors open for those who need it most. One gift can be the difference between surviving and thriving. Christ Clinic in Katy, where health meets hope and faith goes to work. That's Christ Clinic Katy, spelled KATY.org. Team up with them today.
Have you been daydreaming about losing weight for years? Do you just yo-yo back and forth? At Innovative Wellness Center, we have a holistic weight loss program that allows you to lose up to 20 pounds in 30 days. People are losing weight like crazy and keeping it off. It can be done from anywhere in the United States. Go to our website at www.innovativewellness.center and schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
You take a mortal man and put him in control. Watch him become a god. Watch people's heads roll.
Don't ask Rick Tittle to bring it, because it already done got brought.
Welcome back to Sports Byline USA, coast to coast, border to border, and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It's always a pleasure to welcome Giorgio Tsoukalos to the show, and of course, he is going to be continuing the very successful nationwide tour of Ancient Aliens live, 11 new 90-minute shows. We're going to start things off on the 26th of this month at the Warner Theater in D.C., and also, speaking of the History Channel, new episodes of Ancient Aliens Fridays at 9 p.m. Giorgio, welcome to the show. And first, the tough question. I know Nick Pope had come out on social media recently with a very serious health concern. So I'm just wondering if Nick is going to be a part of the live show now.
So, unfortunately, hi, Rick. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. And yes, what sad news. What Nick reported that he unfortunately has received some bad news cancer-wise, and so because of that, he has been part of Ancient Aliens Live. He has done 94 shows with us up until December of 2025, and so this February show in Washington, D.C., and then also the April show in Santa Fe, both of those, unfortunately, Nick had to bow out. And it's with a heavy heart that I have to even mention this because, you know, internally, we've known about his diagnosis for some time now. And, you know, it's I'll just say it, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, I've had him on the show. He's a great guy. And anyway, I wanted to make sure we mentioned that since I saw that last week. All right, let's talk about aliens in general because former President Obama said, oh, yeah, there's aliens. They're not at Area 51 unless the conspiracy is bigger than, you know, POTUS. And then he kind of walked it back saying, well, all I was saying was there's billions of galaxy. Of course there's aliens, but I never saw one. What did you think of those comments and the stir that it caused?
I was fist pumping the air. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great because whether it was intentional or not, who cares? He moved the needle. His comments moved the needle. He started or kick-started a new conversation, a conversation that has been going on for a while, but it got reinvigorated by his statements. And, you know, while he may claim that it was off the cuff because, you know, he said that he wanted to stay in the spirit of a of a speed round that they did apparently. And by the way, I'm not speaking for him, obviously, but at the same time, as far as I understand, he then later said he wanted to keep it in the spirit of that speed round that they were talking about. And also when the podcaster asked, have you? What was your first question when you became president? He said, where are the aliens? And so, and I believe that he did say this, and so, and then when he had to walk it back and say, with the billions of galaxies out there, of course there are other intelligent species out there, hey, that is a factual statement. And unfortunately, we still live in a society, and not just in the U.S., but pretty much in every country around the world, we think that we are the only intelligent species out there. And to that I say, if that is the case, then number one, what a waste of space, and number two, what an insult in the face of creation. Because if we are it, oh man, whoa! I mean, holy moly!
A couple of weeks ago, I saw that Voyager, which was launched, was it 47 years ago, finally hit 1 light day. It was like 16 billion miles from Earth. So I think when we talk about, well, if there are aliens, they're looking at our planet. They're looking at our planet from dinosaur times. But what I think we have to do is get out of our own limited scope of how long it takes to get places, because we have to go to places that our brains have never been before, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it also raises a question of communication, because this is why, the development of drone technology and remote control, drone and Wi-Fi technology is so intriguing, because people are now talking about deep space missions, without people. Personally, I disagree with that notion, because I think that people can are quicker decision makers, in my opinion, than robots, or at least that's what's out there right now. I want people to go out there, not necessarily just machines, but the idea that you could use, for example, when Dr. Avi Loeb, who proposed that Oumuamua and 3I Atlas potentially could be some type of interstellar probes, he was laughed at. And in fact, he raised the issue and said, hey, there are some really weird characteristics going on with both of these comets, and they're not, and I've been studying comets for 40 years, and these characteristics that these two comets display are unlike anything that we currently have on record. And he was laughed out of the room. But here's the thing. If you figure out how to retrofit a interstellar comet, then you know that you have a elliptical orbit of a few million years for that thing to come back to the exact same spot, for millions of years. And so if you know how to do this, technologically speaking, well, then there's absolutely no way to prove or not whether Oumuamua and 3I Atlas did not have a probe on there to observe and then send back messages and signals to whatever planet was able to retrofit a space rock. I mean, it's ingenious.
It is ingenious. Just a couple more questions for you. I know you got to run. Where are we, do you think, and just personally, from yes, we've made contact, or there are aliens, corpses somewhere, what have you, to, oh no, we are trying to harness the technology. We're racing with, China and the Russians, whomever. We're trying to get the technology because whoever can harness this first will dominate militarily. I mean, are we, do you think, still like, nanu, hello, to we're building your spaceships? Like, where are we in those pendulum swings?
Well, I think that's the billion-dollar question. I mean, it's. I do think that extraterrestrials are in contact with human beings. Who these humans are, I have no idea. but it certainly would not surprise me if it would be in the higher echelons of governments around the world, and not just the U.S., but worldwide. And so maybe there is a concerted effort going on, but I know for a fact that all these things that we are being shown by the Navy that have released those videos of UFOs and UAPs, that they themselves say, hey, it's not ours and it's not our adversaries. Well, so either they're lying to us or it's extraterrestrials. Because if you eliminate that it's not ours and it's not an adversary or anyone of this earth, and they say we know of no other country that has this type of technology, well then what is it? The dolphins or the giraffes? I mean, who is it? It has to be the extraterrestrials. So I mean, look, you don't have and so here's the thing: they don't have to spell it out that it's aliens, because they don't have to. When you say it's none of the above, well, what's eliminated or what's left after the elimination is extraterrestrials. So, I mean, I just don't know how nobody groks that. It's strange to me.
Last question for you.
So disclosure has already happened, frankly.
All right. Well, I know we're getting more and more of it, it seems. And I just wanted to end with, I remember last time I had you on, they were talking about these mummified, Mexican corpses of maybe aliens, and people said, oh, it's so dumb. And I remember you said, oh, the dumb thing would be to not investigate. And so that's like that. You always are open-minded, aren't you?
And in the meantime, lots has happened, and it turns out that after all, these mummies turned out to be dolls. And so they are repurposed human remains that were glued together, and that is the general consensus in Peru. This has been deemed a hoax long ago, and then obviously the hoax made it into the social media of the world, and so it gets traction there, but it's a hoax. So it does not, at the same time, though, eliminate the fact that you should investigate it, and this is where the investigation came into place that deemed it, and multiple investigations that all deemed it a hoax. And so there's still some people out there that hold to it, that it's true, and that is something to it, and stuff like that, but it's a hoax.
Giorgio, Tsoukalos, a lot more of that. Of course, Fridays at 9, 8 Central, History Channel, Ancient Aliens, new episodes, the Ancient Aliens live tour. And go to ancientalienslive.tour.com for tickets. It'll kick off at the Warner Theater in Washington, D.C. Coming up here very soon on the 26th. Giorgio, have fun with all that stuff, and we look forward to having you back again real soon, buddy.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and to everyone out there, be safe, and thanks for everything you're doing.
Great stuff. I'm Rick Tittle. Let's take a quick break, and we will come on back on Sports Byline.
If you've got a property that you've been trying to sell and you've tried almost everything, I want to tell you about something that you haven't tried yet. You're going to think this offer is too good to be true, but it's not. Thousands of customers have sold their homes in any condition with Need to Sell My Home. This is a real opportunity from a highly rated company that buys homes all over the country. Did you know it's possible to sell your home right over the phone with no real estate commissions and no pesky open houses? Plus, every offer is a cash offer with no mortgage holdups. To find out how much you can sell your home or property for, call now. Take 5 minutes of your time. Call for this 100% free quote to sell your home.
800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. That's 800-430-0674.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. That's 800-401-5163.
Do you want to add a boost to your sex life this weekend? Do you want to make your partner and yourself happy? Then call our special hotline now. We'll sell you those little pills that work below the belt for less than $1 a pill and deliver your package in a few days, just in time for the weekend. Our pill delivers almost the same results as expensive pills for less than $1 a piece, and you don't need a prescription. And ask about their buy 3 get 3 free offer. What are you waiting for? Boost your sex life and have a great time now. Less than $1 a pill, discreet delivery in a few days, and a buy 3 get 3 free offer? Dial this number and save it now.
800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. That's 800-245-2751. Paid for by the Pharmacy Shop.
Okay, just hold on. I'm just gonna jump into one without thinking. No thinking. I'm just gonna let it flow. Let it flow now. Fast car on the highway, on the byway, Mr. Robotron. Okay, that's not a good one.
Teenage dreams so hard to beat. Every time she walks down the street, another girl in the neighborhood. Wish she was mine, she looks so good. I wanna hold her tight. Get teenage kicks right through the night.
If you're thinking about calling Rick Tittle, just put down that phone and shut your ugly face.
All right, thanks for that. We still have another hour to go. It's almost entirely open lines, so feel free to chime in at 1-800-878-PLAY. The new manager of the San Francisco Giants, it might have escaped your attention, is a guy named Tony Vitello. That's how he pronounces it. And he was a long-time, very successful manager in the college ranks at Tennessee. Before that, he was at his alma mater, Mizzou, and Texas Christian. But he had one of the best programs, a lot of draft picks coming out of that program. And a lot of people were saying, oh, he didn't ride the bus, he didn't do this, he's never been in the pros. I'm not really worried about that. There's just the only two things I think of are, and no one really talks about this, is how the umpires are going to deal with him and if they hold it against him. But the last 2 days, so yesterday, he met the press, always Susan Slesser sitting right there, she's first, and he was talking about, and just paraphrasing, when, it got leaked that maybe I was leaving Tennessee a couple days before, and then my first and third base coach kind of freaked out, like that it'd affect their job, and, I didn't think that was too great that it got leaked, and then, so that came out, and people are like, dude, who cares? Rookie move, rookie mistake. Don't talk about that stuff. It doesn't matter. So today he met the press, and people said, some people were upset with what you said. And he's like, well, it's the internet, and it's just meandering. And what he needs to do, and I'll just give an example, is Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin is a big personality, but you wouldn't know it from work. You see him before the game. Bob, what's up? Yeah, we're ready. How about that guy? Yeah, he'll play. What about this guy? No, he's about a week away. Anything else? Well, is that it? Good? You good, fellas? Okay, good. Bye. After the game, what'd you think? Yeah, I thought he pitched well. Yeah, he had some good stuff, good movement. They got a couple of his pitches he probably wants back. But all right, anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. But what Vitello is doing, sort of feel like I would do too. I would be giving like long, honest answers, and you just don't, just give manager speak. It'll help you. I know it feels weird, but it'll help you. Just like Bob Melvin and be like, "Yep, all right. Anything else, fellas? Okay, we'll be back for hour 3."
I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning. As the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing began its new season last weekend, a shadow still hovers over the sport. A shadow marking its anniversary, the death of Dale Earnhardt. On February 18th, 2001, in the closing moments of the first Daytona 500 broadcast on the Fox network, Earnhardt was killed during a last lap accident on the backstretch. I was there that day in the crowd. A big Sterling Marlin fan, I went to the race with a friend who was a big Earnhardt fan, and another whose favorite driver, Adam Petty, had passed away tragically the year prior due to a wreck in New Hampshire. To this day, I can't think of many more surreal experiences I've ever had in my life, and certainly never when it comes to a sporting event I was at. As both a Marlin fan and a fan of great stories, the race was playing itself out beautifully. Marlin's Coors Light Silver Bullet was strong and he looked like he could win his third career Daytona 500. But Earnhardt was ahead of him and was aggressively protecting the cars of Michael Waltrip and his son Dale Earnhardt Jr., who were leading the pack. Cars that were owned by Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, the team that was going to take the sport to the future. And only about a half hour before the end of the race, I thought I had seen a man die. A wreck on the backstretch during lap 173 saw Tony Stewart smash head-on into a wall, go airborne over another car, and proceeded to violently roll several times. In total, 18 cars were involved in the accident, and I really did think Stewart was done. But instead, he emerged from the car conscious and walked into the ambulance, and it took him to the infield care center. So when we saw the last lap where Marlin and Earnhardt got into it, and Dale went into the wall the same way we've seen many drivers do, we didn't think much of it. They almost always walked away. Immediately afterwards, we bailed out to get something to eat. I believe we were at the Hooters that's right across from the track. I honestly can't remember. There was dark wood, and it seems like a place we would have gone to at our ages in Daytona, so that's what I'll go with. The fact is, I honestly don't remember. Once the announcement was made that we had lost Dale Earnhardt, my timeline gets awfully blurry. Leaving the city on Monday, while no one was outwardly obnoxious to me, there were several cold stares. A glance at my number 40 hat, followed by a sharp look in the eyes. It was truly surreal and remains so to this day. As awful as this will sound, someone with serious value to the sport was going to have something serious happen to them before sweeping safety changes were going to be made. Sadly, its biggest star fell victim, and those changes were made. And since then, not one person has passed away in any of the 3 major series. But 25 years later, Earnhardt's shadow still hovers. I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning.
Have you been daydreaming about losing weight for years? Do you just yo-yo back and forth? At Innovative Wellness Center, we have a holistic weight loss program that allows you to lose up to 20 pounds in 30 days. People are losing weight like crazy and keeping it off. It can be done from anywhere in the United States. Go to our website at www.innovativewellness.center and schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Soccer season rolls on here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. This is Tyler Levine, host of First Touch, the premier weekly global soccer show across the entire Sports Byline broadcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Simple Radio, and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We're talking English Premier League, Champions League, our picks of the week, and a whole lot more. First Touch on Sports Byline USA, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Getting together with friends to watch the game? Then you'll need American Premium Vodka. Handcrafted and pure, this is the one thing all Americans can agree on. Founder Mark Scott chose the finest natural elements America has to offer, and you'll taste how great it is to be an American. Now available at Bevmo, GoPuff, Hy-Vee, and Fairway stores. American Premium Vodka. This is the America we need right now. Go to AmericanPremiumVodka.com. Celebrate responsibly.
Quick question. How many calls, texts, or messages does your business miss every week? Nights, weekends, busy days. That's lost money. Create Assistance helps businesses fix that problem using AI employees that answer calls, respond to texts, book appointments, and follow up with leads 24/7 automatically. No extra staff, no complicated software. Everything runs inside one simple command center that replaces scattered tools, missed follow-ups, and manual busywork. Whether you're a service business, office, or multi-location company, Create Assistance keeps your business responsive, organized, and running even when you're off the clock. Stop letting leads slip through the cracks. Visit createassistance.ai to book a free call. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
Rick Tittle knows his sports.
I hate that guy.
I love that guy. Oh my gosh, he's so fine. Rick Tittle brings home the bacon, fries in the pan, and then he eats it.
Ricky T in the hizzle for shizzle business.
Thank you for that, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you. Sorry to hear this morning that Jesse Jackson had passed away. And I was thinking about how big he was with the Rainbow Coalition. And you got to be mindful, the rainbow flag did not mean pride or the gay community. The rainbow flag was originally, let's bring all people of all colors together. That was Rainbow Coalition when he ran for president. And then at some point that flag became the symbol for the gay community. But I remember one of my professors, Dr. Harry Edwards, was in communication with Jesse Jackson. At least he said he was. He gave us updates on things, and I think I wore out the VHS of Eddie Murphy singing Miami Town as Jesse Jackson with the backups. I could sing you that whole song right now. It's so good, but what an amazing life and influential life. And even Trump didn't rip him today. I always feel like somehow he's gonna, when someone dies, he's gonna say, yeah, sorry about that, and then say, by the way, the Dow is up, or Trump derangement syndrome or something. But sorry to report on Jackson. All right, 1-800-878-PLAY is the number to call and get in, or if you might happen to be listening. There's also the TuneIn app, the iHeartRadio app, the Stitcher app as well, and Twitch.tv, along with YouTube. And you can see me looking right into that camera. Now, if you're wondering why Twitch is stage left, it's because that's how I can get in with it's the only way I can get in to the YouTube channel. But what else? It's all good. 1-800-878-PLAY. Tune in app, iHeartRadio app, Stitcher app. I mentioned Twitch.tv around the world on American Forces Radio Network. And also, you can always catch us on CRN Digital Plus, too, the cable radio network, channel 2 in your cable provider. So come on back.
Pizza's here.
Oh, I love. I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com. To your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm holding in my hand the American Silver Eagle Dollar. It's a beautiful piece of American history, and it's 1 ounce of silver. Originally minted in 1986, these coins are a beautiful classic piece of American history, and they're a great investment you should add to your portfolio. The beauty of silver is that however much you have available to invest, silver is affordable and easy to acquire, with one coin costing around $30. So, if you choose to invest a few thousand in silver, you can get quite a bit for your money, and you'll have a tangible asset that you can hold, one you can be proud to own. Your piece of American with American Silver Eagle Dollars. Call the Silver Hotline right now.
800-620-1624. 800-620-1624. 800-620-1624. That's 800-620-1624.
It's game day. Are your moderate severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
This is JD Sharp. I've been developing a revolutionary sports handicapping service, and you can be a part of the beta. Sign up at betus.com with a deposit of as little as $50. Use the promo code SHARPBetting. Email a screenshot of your account to worldwidesharp@gmail.com, and I'll reply personally with my plays. My NFL record this season was an industry best 72-33, and this is the only way to know all my plays the moment I make them. Let's keep making money together.
Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle is a genius. The best show ever. He's so wonderful. Genius. The best show ever. He's so wonderful. Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle he's so handsome. He's a genius.
I am so excited to be back on the Tittle Show.
All right, hour 3 underway. Time to chime in if you'd like at 1-800-878-PLAY. Whenever I see lists of like finalists coming to the Hall of Fame, I always like to get people's thoughts on it. But we do have J.D. Sharp, so I'll get back to that in a minute. J.D. Sharp, of course, with pro wagering, and a guy who will get you what he'll get you is a better chance at winning if you want to take a punt on a sports bet. He has proven it. JD, just switching gears a little bit, as you know, pitchers and catchers have reported, and I saw that Tony Clark, the head of the union, is supposed to be resigning today. I don't know if he has yet, according to The Athletic, and there's been some over executives being paid exorbitant amount of monies from some of these side hustles that the union has. With the CBA coming up in December, do you get a lot of hooey? Because I sort of feel like no matter who's in charge, they wait till the last minute anyway.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, probably a load of the B to the B to the likely would be my guess at this point, Rick.
All right, fair enough. Let's get into March Madness, if you will, and of course we're a couple of ways away from March. But how are you looking at things as they shake out right now? Is there a team or two that's a little bit of a dark horse outside of the ones we were talking about last time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about Michigan. I think Michigan is by far the most talented team in the country. I think they're one of the deepest teams. I like May as a coach. I think they've got a good chance of winning it. Another team that we didn't talk about. We talked about St. Louis. We talked about Miami, Ohio, who was 25-0, and they beat Ohio by 16 last week. I think they're playing now UMass today, 2.5-point favorites in that game. Is Arkansas. Arkansas is really, really talented. Darius Cuff is the best point guards I've seen in a long time. I could say that like with confidence. They got that pretty kid from Bama. They got Brazil. They got Knox. They got Richmond. I mean, they got a really deep team. Obviously, they have a very good coach. They have a ton of talent. I could see Arkansas making a big run. They're 17-8, 18-8, and they might be a 4 or 5 seed when it comes down to it. Your odds are still probably pretty good there. You're probably maybe 50-1, maybe 50-1 to win it all at this point. Yeah, I think Arkansas. If there was a dark team we haven't discussed yet, that would probably be it. And then outside of that, I mean, Illinois is really good too. Illinois could easily win it all. They don't have Boswell back, but they have so much size inside. This Wagler kid's pretty good. He's had some big games. This Merkovich kid's also pretty good. I don't love Louisville. This Michael Brown kid's had a very good year, obviously, but he's been really, really hot from three. I don't know if they can sustain anything. I think Texas is pretty talented, but again, it's just kind of their story. They have a lot of talent. They just underperform when they need to perform. But no, I think Arkansas is a team that everyone needs to take a really close look at. They're playing very well. They have a ton of talent. They have a coach. They could be a bit of a spoiler in come March and come early April.
Last night at the Hilton Coliseum, your Cyclones and Houston, a great game. Iowa State 70, Houston 67. And I was talking to somebody who pays more attention to college basketball than I do, which isn't saying much because I don't really focus on it till March. But he told me that this is one of the greatest college basketball seasons he's seen in 20 years. He thinks it's amazing. Do you agree with that?
It's been good, yeah. There's not really a hyper-dominant team. I mean, it was Michigan. Michigan they were winning by 30, 40 points. They beat Gonzaga by like 45. And then they've been playing really well lately. But you get the down with Arizona. You have Duke, who's pretty good, pretty often on. Purdue, kind of the same thing there. They're facing Michigan today. That spread's 2.5. Mm-hmm. You have some emergence with guys like with St. Louis, Miami, Ohio. And then you've got the dark horses like your Arkansas. So yeah, it's been a very good season. I think like a Michigan State, I don't think they'll be very good this year. I don't think they're going to go very far in the tournament. I can see them losing the first game. Honestly, they're really not that good. As far as Iowa State goes, Iowa State has a lot of talent at guard. Lips, he's a senior. He plays good defense. I love that Altenberger. He's a good key. He was UNLV's coach, 5-6 years ago. But those teams play really strong defense, which I'm impressed with. That Torrey kid's pretty good. They don't have depth. They don't have a lot of depth on the team, but maybe don't have much depth. So I'm not sure Iowa State's going to go that far, but I could see them making somewhat of a difference this year. And then UConn's still pretty good too. UConn's not. I mean, they're 20-2, 20. They still got Terrace Reed and Alex Caravan. I mean, they got a pretty good team themselves. Are they going at all? I don't think so, but they could definitely be an Elite Eight type of team or a Final Four type of team because they certainly have the coach and they've got this Solo Ball kid's pretty good. This Braylon Mullins kid is pretty good. They've got a pretty good. They got some they have enough depth and they have a lot of athleticism with their depth. A lot of their bench players are 6'7", 220. They can D you up. They can run and gun. Maybe they can shoot a 3 and D type of guys. So yeah, you can take a look at UConn too, obviously, and say, hey, maybe they could be maybe they could tear down the Nets in April. I'm not super confident they can. I still think Michigan would probably beat them. But yeah, it's definitely been a good season. There's been some good stories on both sides. There's been some up and downs. There hasn't been a clear leader, and I think there's been some pretty good basketball played.
You know, JD, Miami of Ohio, 25-0. They're going to play UMass tonight. And I sort of feel like that the only reason they're ranked, and they're barely ranked, is because they're undefeated. I mean, it's just like, all right, well, I guess we have to make them 23 or whatever. But are they, I mean, look, 25-0 is great, but what this shows me is that they haven't, quote-unquote, played anybody. Have you looked at the former Redskins, now Red Hawks?
Yeah, I looked at their schedule, and it was, yeah, they really haven't played anybody. They beat UMass by 2. I want to say at home. That was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago or a week ago. I kind of like UMass here. I think they probably covered this 2.5. UMass is they're kind of deep. They're really athletic. They can score. Is Miami of Ohio going to keep scoring the way they've been scoring? I mean, the stats say they will, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen or not. But yeah, they're going to be a tournament team. They play like a team. They've got a little more depth than I thought they would, and they've got a couple of guards that really know how to play the game. They look like, I think they're actually international players that are just on that transferred there or whatever to Miami of Ohio that have played pretty well. So they're a team to watch. And it looks like they play kind of beautiful basketball as far as offensively, but I do think that the athleticism of UMass is probably going to prevail today.
And then just finally, you know, I was looking at some standings, and, you know, football doesn't follow basketball. I was looking at the Big 12. Houston, Arizona, Iowa State, Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, West Virginia, UCF, TCU. This is the Big 12. If you gun to my head, I would not have been able to come up with the Big 12 men's basketball. I don't even know how people keep track anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The amount of teams that are like, yeah, the UCLA's in the Big 10, USC's in the Big 10 as well. Yeah, it's not what you think anymore. It's definitely a very different situation than what it was. And is it good? Is it good? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's good or bad, but I mean, it's cool watching Iowa play UCLA. Cool watching Iowa play USC. That wasn't a thing that used to happen.
But I just mean for basketball, like BYU couldn't wait to get into the West Coast, so they get into the West Coast, and then now they're in the Big 12, and now Gonzaga is going to the new Pac-12. I don't know. I guess there's no question. I'm just thinking out loud. JD Sharp, thanks for letting me pick your brain. Thanks for dropping by, man.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Rick.
All right, pro wagering, JD Sharp. We'll come on back on Sports Byline.
Who's watching? Tell me who's watching? Who's watching me? I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? When I come home at night, I roll the door.
You hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-247-6135. 800-247-6135. That's 800-247-6135.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-399-6879. 800-399-6879. 800-399-6879. That's 800-399-6879.
I've got a question for you. Do you want a lower car payment just by making a phone call? You know, most people buy a car and they pay whatever the car dealer says their interest rate is, and they forget about it and make payments. But did you know there is a secret in your contract that allows another company to refinance any car payment to try and lower it? It's true. There is indeed a company out there that knows the ins and, more importantly, the outs on car loans, and they know how to lower your current car payments. It's easy and fast, and you could have a lower car payment next month. Make this free call right now and find out if you could lower your existing car payment. Call the Car Savings Hotline right now. The call is free.
Call now. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. That's 800-605-1680.
I gotta go to college. I gotta.
Danny, this isn't Russia. Is this Russia? This isn't Russia, is it?
Nah.
I don't think so.
Rick Tittle ain't the man, but Rick Tittle knows who the man is, and he slapped his white fanny.
All right, thanks for that, and welcome back to the show. And lines are open and available at 800-878-PLAY. This guy posted a video the other day about how he won money on the prop bet at the Super Bowl for how long the national anthem is. And he took a video of himself standing outside the stadium when they practiced it. Now, I can tell you from someone who used to be part of MLB broadcasts with the pre- and post-game show that sometimes I would get there very early for batting practice. And I would always try to go, I mean, not super, the A's would hit first, and I didn't really care about seeing them because I knew them. I always liked to get there for the other team's BP. But while you're there, the stadium is closed to the public, and someone comes out there, and whoever's going to sing the national anthem practices it one time. And so at Levi's, they practiced not only the national anthem very early in the morning, they practiced the flyover, too, to make sure that they would be on time. And I had, you might remember, Nope, that was her name, in the Air National Guard. She flew a F-16 over the Super Bowl. Anyway, so the guy stood outside very early, Super Bowl Sunday. He said once he saw the planes, he knew they were going to start, and so you could hear it. Obviously, it was on the speaker, and he got a stopwatch out, and he timed it, and then he went click. He clicked it, and that was it. And then he made his prop bet, whether it was, I don't know if it was under or over, but whatever. He knew how long it was going to be, and he cashed in. And all I could think of was, why doesn't everybody do that? Because on the one hand, when they have these props, like what color is the Gatorade? Why can't you just make that the Gatorade color? What color is the polo shirt of the coach? Can't you wear that? Yeah. All right. Anyway, getting back to what I was bringing up about the Naismith Hall of Fame class of 2026 finalists. And it's a short list, and I'm just going to give you my yay or nay. And now the Basketball Hall of Fame, I don't care as much. I think nobody does. How many people make a pilgrimage to go to Cambridge, Mass. To go to it? I'm sure there are a few. But you hear Cooperstown, you hear Canton, you go, yeah, but the third C, Cambridge, and you're like, huh? So these are finalists. Players, Jennifer Azzi. I can't believe she's not in already. Molly Bolin Kazmer, I'm not qualified. Tal Brody, not qualified. Elena Deladon, first time on the ballot. Not qualified to say yay or nay. Blake Griffin's first time on the ballot. Is he a Hall of Famer? In my mind, no, but he'll get in. Shamika Holdsclaw, I can't believe she's not in already. Kevin Johnson, to me, is not a Hall of Famer. Marquez Johnson, a handsome guy, good actor. He's not a Hall of Famer to me. Candace Parker is on the list. Candace Parker is a slam dunk. Amari Stoudemire, no, you're not a Hall of Famer, Amari Stoudemire. And Buck Williams, I mean, come on, Buck Williams, really? This isn't the Hall of Good. Now, coaches, there are two first-timers, Mike D'Antoni. Now, Mike D'Antoni was an innovator for sure. Did Mike D'Antoni win a title? Did he? I don't think he did. There was Houston. There was New York. I don't think D'Antoni won a title. Kelvin Sampson. I think maybe Kelvin Sampson gets in because he coached for 5,000 years. But others, Mark Few. Now, I remember Mark Few as a Gonzaga assistant because you just saw that face and you never forgot it. What he was able to do in Spokane to turn that into a destination school is absolutely amazing. And the fact that Gonzaga would play all these big schools instead of Utah State and Fresno State. And now Gonzaga is not a mid-major, even though the school and the town are. That's an amazing job. Does that get you in the Hall of Fame? Not to me. Dusan Ivkovic, not qualified. Gary McKnight, no. Dick Motta. Dick Motta is like, if you put Dick Motta in, then you got to put in all those guys from that generation. And I don't think you should. Doc Rivers, where is he all time in wins? Isn't he number one? Didn't he pass Don Nelson? Doc Rivers? I don't know. Doc Rivers should be in. Jerry Welsh. I can't tell you who Jerry Welsh is. I'm gonna have to look him up. Is he related to Bill Welsh? No, it's Bill Walsh. Jerry. I mean, there's other people I at least heard the names.
Popovich has the most.
Popovich has the most. Yes, thank you. Sorry, your mic is all scratchy and going in and out. Do you say something else?
Better?
Yeah, go ahead.
Don Nelson second.
And then Doc Rivers is third?
Lenny Wilkins is third. Jerry Sloan is fourth. Pat Riley's fifth.
Oh, wow. I'm way off. Okay, never mind.
Doc Rivers is sixth. He's got 1,176. Pop's got 1,390.
Okay, so he's six, so I'm not way off. But Jerry Welsh, SUNY Potsdam. Okay, that's why I didn't know who he was. SUNY is State University of New York. It's like their state systems. Hey, with a name like that, maybe you can get into the new Pac-12. I had a friend who went to SUNY Albany, and he said if you said it backwards, it was anus, because it was SUNYA. So Jerry Welsh was at SUNY Potsdam from 1977 until recently. And then two others up, Joey Crawford. I think it's amazing that the Crawford brothers, one was an MLB umpire and the other was an NBA official. I don't know of any other case like that. Obviously, we have sons, the Harry Wendelstedts and the Hunter Wendelstedts, and we get people like that. But at the same time, both Crawfords, and Joey Crawford to me was just the epitome of like New York street whitey Irish basketball, and just a guy who wouldn't take any guff. And some of those refs like being pretty boys, but I'm gonna see if Joey Crawford, when you live in California, anybody who yells at you and is bald is automatically New York. He let's see. Oh, he's from Pennsylvania. Okay. He's from Philly. He went to Cardinal O'Hara in Philly. All right, close enough. A Philly guy. Yeah. Rick, those are two different cities. And then finally, the 1996 United States Women's National Team. First of all, it's dumb to put teams in Halls of Fame. I just think it is. It's just dumb. But it's also it should be a slam dunk, right? But anyway, Jerry Crawford was a guy who was a major league umpire when I was like in junior high. And then when I was doing A's games, he was still an umpire. He did it for like 35, 36 years, something like that. And that was back when guys were known for their strike zone. I saw something where Patrick Bailey is upset that there's going to be this ABS because he's the best framer, and maybe he won't be able to frame as much. Let me see. By the way, Shag Crawford. Henry Charles Shag Crawford. Shag is usually short for Shaughnessy. He was an MLB. He's their father. Wow. He was a major league umpire for 20 years, 56 to 75. Man, when you just know you come from a family of meter maids. I shouldn't say that. They're not meter maids. But people who like enforcing rules, that's just not me. A couple of times I was asked to referee kids' soccer games because I happen to be there. I would do that, but now I don't want to do it for a living. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come on back. And lines are available at 1-800-878-PLAY.
Alert for consumers struggling to pay taxes. Our new tax regulation, not public yet. We have the inside track on your new tax savings. These programs are designed to help struggling taxpayers like you. The COVID relief programs are gone, but there are new programs to help struggling taxpayers, and we have the inside track. Call now, and we'll take you through these new programs. These taxpayer savings programs have never been available until now. Get out of tax trouble now. It doesn't take weeks. It can happen in one phone call. Call now and get the inside track to get rid of your tax problems.
Call the tax helpline now. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. 949-0039. That's 800-949-0039.
Have you suffered sports losses? There is someone who wants to fight for you to see you get back what you have lost to those sports betting companies. Michael Watts is a prolific trial lawyer with over $11 billion in total recoveries for his clients. Now with sportsbettingclaim.com, he'd like to help you. Michael has been a leader in some of the largest and most complex cases in the country. from defective cars and tires to damaging drugs and medical products. He has always represented the rights of individuals harmed by large corporations. His efforts recently resulted in the recovery of billions for individuals who lost their properties to fires carelessly caused by electric companies and others. Michael knows that sports companies preyed on and manipulated consumers into losing their life savings, and he wants to make them pay. If you have suffered financial hardship as a result of online sports betting and would like help seeking compensation, please submit your claim information for evaluation at sportsbettingclaim.com. Michael Watts is focused on winning for you. sportsbettingclaim.com.
Sometimes life changes and the house you once loved becomes a burden. Too many repairs, too many memories, too much to handle on your own. If you'd like to sell your home fast, we can help at the Home Buyers Hotline. We can help you sell your home as is. No cleaning, no showings. There are absolutely no hidden fees or real estate commissions. We'll pay you a fair price for your home in cash. Whether you're downsizing, handling an estate, or just ready for peace of mind, call us. We'll help you walk away from your problem property in no time at all and get you the cash in your bank account with little hassles. If you'd like to sell your home fast, as is, we can help at the Home Buyers Hotline.
Call Want to Sell Your Home now for a free quote to sell your home in any condition. Call 800-950-3143. 800-950-3143. That's 800-950-3143.
Resistors to mind reprogramming will be exterminated for the good of the state.
What kind of government you guys got here? This is worse than California.
This is the only sports talk show that features a Rhodes Scholar, but he ain't here today. Now, back to Rick Tittle.
Thank you for that, and welcome. And we had All-Star Weekend. Did you participate in All-Star Weekend? I don't like people who badmouth things because they're not into it. Maybe you were into it. I wasn't into it personally. I did see the dunks, and I got to say that I'm flabbergasted. I mean, there were guys that just walked up and just dunked. That was weird. The three-point competition, cool to see. Other than that, a lot of people having a deal out of the Capetian map of France, known when Victor Wembanyama was announced, and it was pretty cool because there was no Birdie, there was no, and then we even had the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, or they call him here Emmanuel Macron. He said, "I want to reassure our neighbors we did not provide the map. On the other hand, Wemby is indeed our French pride." So the president of France had to chime in on that. By the way, because the other day I was talking about with the Neil Diamond guy last week, I was talking about the movie The Jazz Singer, at least the 1979 version. And I hadn't seen it since I was in high school, and so I watched it on Prime. Now I know why people don't talk about that movie, because he's with Franklin Ajayi, the comedian, and a couple other guys, and he's in blackface with a fro in the beginning of the movie doing a song. And it's actually John Witherspoon and Tittle vet Ernie Hudson that find out that he's actually a white guy. And back then, it was all high hilarity, but yeah. Is anyone trying to cancel Neil Diamond for that? I don't know. Anyway, back to All-Star Weekend. The commissioner gave his State of the State. I actually was at a couple of those because he did them. He used to do them before the finals. I remember he did it in the A's batting cage. Someone said, "What do you think about the Warriors moving?" And said, where are we right now? We're in the A's batting cage. So I'm okay with it. Joe knows what he's doing. But it's another year, and it's another alteration to that All-Star game and to the stars and the foreigners. And Kevin Durant was asked about it right before the game at Intuit Dome, and he kind of shrugged it off, saying fans and the media need something to complain about. That's true. But Katie wasn't the only player who talked about it. Doncic, Jokic, Ant, they all got asked various versions of the question. But Adam Silver spoke for roughly half an hour and did not get a single question about All-Star festivities and having to tweak the proceedings again, because most years maybe that would have been it. But the conference showed and predictably revealed is that the is facing a number of pressing issues with PR, and tanking is a big one, and also resting players, and the investigation into the cap circumvention by the Clippers, who just happen to be hosting the events, and the betting props and those scandals. This is Silver's 12th full season now as commish, and it's very challenging, which is a lot considering one of the very first issues he handles was ejecting Donald Sterling from the aforementioned Clippers. He was caught on tape. I don't know if you ever saw that show with Ed O'Neill. It was really good about the Clips, and you had Lawrence Fishburne playing Doc Rivers. It was really good, I thought. But should we play? Should we not play? And all that other stuff. Remember, you can get with them, just don't bring them to the games. But earlier this week, the NBA fined the Jazz $500,000, and they fined the Pacers $100,000 for tanking. And Silver kind of conceded tanking's been around a long time. And he said that fans are rooting for their teams to be bad. Those are called Raider fans. But he said that the incentives are misaligned. Here's his quote. "Are we seeing behavior that is worse this year than we've seen in recent memory? Yes, in my view, which is what led to those fines. And not just the fines, but my statement that we're going to be looking more closely at the totality of all the circumstances this season in terms of teams' behavior, and very intentionally wanted teams to be on notice," end quote. So the problem with figuring out how to punish or discourage tanking is that Silver said, you know it when you see it. In other words, it's kind of subjective, and it's a gray area. And so Silver said that they did not want to be in the position to discipline teams. Well, but they have to. And look, holding All-Star Weekend, the Intuit, while looking at the Clippers for potential cap circumvention and tampering violations is awkward, to say the least, right? And Silver reminded the media assembled there that the league is not directly leading the investigation, that they hired an outside law firm. He said everything's been told that they're fully cooperative. He said, but as I've said, I'm not involved in the day-to-day. And he called the matter enormously complex, and there are no conclusions just yet. So, I mean, when you think about when he was asked about Giannis Antetokounmpo announcing that he joined the prediction market, this thing called Kalshi, as a shareholder, and Silver said, it's an issue I'm paying enormous amount of attention to. But he also downplayed Giannis's involvement, just saying that the league has rules for sports betting where players can make small investments in gambling companies. And now prediction markets. So stupid. And what a dumb name, Kalshi. Sounds like something you would order in a restaurant. Could I have an extra helping of Kalshi, please? Silver said, that means their investment cannot amount to over 1%. In the case of Giannis, I understand it's a minuscule investment, much smaller than 1%, so that does not violate the rules. By the way, what kind of investment is that? Less than 1%? Is that going to be rich? While not violating the rules, it's not a great look for the league, and Silver kind of wrapped that because he said it concerns me in the totality of all this betting that we better handle, no pun intended, on the different activity that's happening out there. So there's tanking, there's the Clippers, there's gambling and prediction markets, but they're looking into it, or at least the law firm is looking into the case of the Clippers. What about, not just tanking, what about diving? I'm always surprised when I see these clips. I almost feel it's AI where no one touches LeBron and he like leans back like you up his chin. That's called simulation in soccer. You get a yellow card. It's called faking an injury. Simulation. You're trying to dupe the ref. And where it really sucks is in the penalty box. And in the Euros 6 years ago, Raheem Sterling of England against Denmark in the semifinal, he just threw himself on the ground and it was a penalty. And the replay showed that no one ever touched him. And that's what we're trying to get out of the game. It's horrifying. So I don't know how Silver's damage control went. If you sit through the press conference and if you sat through it, if you read the transcript. And Silver, like a lot of people in charge, are good at saying things without saying anything. But that's the other thing, too, about, like, you are trying to, the Warriors are nothing without Steph Curry, okay, just flat out. You don't want to play him every game. So do you play him every game on the road? When he's healthy, do you play him every game on the road? Because those people have one chance to see him all year. Do you play him every game at home? Because those are the people who are paying for his salary, more or less, his $400,000 per game. Well, you got to rest him at some point. And I think we've all been to events where the star was not there, and we think, oh, well, that sucks. Right? That's not going to work whatsoever. So I don't know how you do that unless you come up with a formula, and it's like there are, 82 games, and this guy is only going to play 5 games. So we're just going to let you know before the season even starts that he's not playing in this, or that. But you can't do that because what if everybody else is hurt and you have to play him that game? So that wouldn't work either with your chart. But I'll never forget the load management. LeBron's first year with the Lakers, remember, they did not make the playoffs. And the last 2 games of the season, he didn't play, and they showed him in a studio working on some music. And they said it was load management next year. It's like, wow. Now, I think they did win the NBA title the next year in the COVID year. But still, load management is the other thing. Something that would have been unheard of back in the day. Just absolutely unheard of. And, I talked to Rick Barry about this, and he said, I'm a basketball player. I want to play basketball. I would never, ever, ever sit. So you'll get a better product later. But anyway, as I said, the commish, he's one of our best commissioners. He just is. I have more faith in Adam Silver than the other guys. All right, I'm Rick Tittle. Let's take a break. Come on back.
If you've got a property that you've been trying to and you've tried almost everything, I want to tell you about something that you haven't tried yet. You're going to think this offer is too good to be true, but it's not. Thousands of customers have sold their homes in any condition with Need to Sell My Home. This is a real opportunity from a highly rated company that buys homes all over the country. Did you know it's possible to sell your home right over the phone with no real estate commissions and no pesky open houses? Plus, every offer is a cash offer with no mortgage holdups. To find out how much you can sell your home or property for, call now. Take 5 minutes of your time and call for this 100% quote to sell your home.
800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. That's 800-430-0674. Hey, airline travelers, let's say you have a problem and you need to change or cancel an existing airline reservation. What do? Well, Skywatch is a free service that can help anyone with any airline reservation fix whether you want to cancel it, change your dates, or add passengers. We can help fix your airline reservation so you get exactly what you need. We've updated our computer database and now have access to every airline around the globe. So now you can make one phone call regardless of book tickets, and we'll change it, cancel it, and fix it for you. We know the insider secrets to fixing reservations that the airlines don't want you to know about. So if you need to cancel, change, or modify an existing airline reservation, call Skywatch right now. It's a free call, so let us fix it for you. 855-325-5647. 855-325-5647. 855-325-5647. That's 855-325-5647.
It's more than a rebellion. Your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from chaos and into a care of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
And by the way, can I just say, Rick, that Rick Tittle is one of the great names of all time.
Don't be getting your grand panties all in a bunch. We got Rick Tittle up in here.
Couple minutes left in the show. Kansas State, a couple days ago, fired head basketball coach Jerome Tang for cause. They only have one win in the Big 12. He's in his fourth year, and he lashed out at his players following a blowout home loss to Cincinnati. The basis for the for cause firing, according to ESPN, is the language in the contract that says if he ever brings public disrepute, embarrassment, or ridicule to Kansas State. The AD, Gene Taylor, said this was a decision that was made in the best interest of the university and men's basketball program. Recent public comments on conduct, in addition to the program's overall direction, have not aligned with K-State's standards for student-athlete support. Representing the university, we wish Coach and his family well, all the best moving forward. So 3 years ago, he signed an extension. There's still about $19 million